everybody. Joe Misfit Glenn here. I'm here with Timmy Martin. He is a combat brother of mine that I served with in Afghanistan. And so we're about to talk about his life stories, man. And so welcome, Tim. Thanks for showing
Thank
up.
you. Welcome. Thank you.
Brother. Super good to see you again, bro.
Oh, no doubt, man. Always good to see fellow vets, man. Especially the ones you served with overseas, bro.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. All right, let's see who's up in here. What's up, Facebook user? I see you. You got to give StreamYard permission to look at your name now. Who else we got in here? Peanut butter. Is that Don Hudson? Inside joke, Timmy. Inside joke about peanut butter, man. Yeah.
No, I got a buddy named Levon Hudson. I thought it was him.
Oh, no, man. Maybe. Is he a Vetcodes member? If not, send him up on in, bro.
Yeah, I was in Korea with a brother named Levon Hudson. Real good guy.
Nice, man. Jeremy, welcome, welcome. Cowboy. Hey, what's up, Keith? What's up, Adam? Adam says good evening.
Good evening, Adam.
Let's see. All right, we'll wait for a couple more folks and then we'll get it.
Okay, sounds good.
So my other combat brother's up in here, Keith Ingram. Yeah, good to see him too, man. He visited me about a month ago, man. It was good time. But all right, man. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and kick it off. All right, Timmy. So, like I said, everybody, me and Timmy did some years together up at Fort Campbell, 626 FSB. I was a medic. You were the nurse. What was the MOS title of that? The numbers, the nomenclature.
68 whiskey.
Yeah, that's right.
And
right. So
it was 68 whiskey. Then they waited. I think it was 91 whiskey, Mike 6. They gave us that identifier. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool, man. So Tim, go ahead, man, and just tell us a little bit about yourself, man, and your family, your life, man. Just tell us about yourself.
Gotcha. Hey, everybody. I'm Tim Martin. Served in Fort Campbell with Joe, man, and we did like probably about 5 good years at Fort Campbell. But I come out of New Haven, Connecticut. Born and raised out of New Haven. Never thought I would go into the military. But then when I got into college and money got tight, I said, heck, I tried the reserves for 4 years. That kept me in school maybe another 2 semesters. And then Desert Storm broke out. And I was in a reserve unit with some guys, man. None of us really knew each other except for on the weekends.
Right.
And I was just thinking, if that ball goes up, I want to be with guys I know, guys I can trust, guys that got my 6. And I ended up going active. Went to Germany. My first duty station was in Germany. I was in Nordbrücke outside of Frankfurt, not too far from Frankfurt, down near Trier. But that was a really good assignment. That was my first assignment down there in Germany. We was all hood, young guys, invincible guys. Didn't think, life was just precious, but we just didn't think we could be stopped. But nothing jumped off. I never ended up going to Saudi. I left Nordbrücke, ended up at Fort Belvoir. Ended up at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, where I ended up retiring too. It comes full circle. But I went to Fort Belvoir. Fort Belvoir was a wonderful assignment. I was in the military district of Washington. Got to learn a lot about politics at that time. And, how we were scattered amongst different areas, how we were sent out, met a few people right downtown at DA, down in the Hoffman building. So I started to mature at Fort Belvoir when guys started, telling me, hey, your career can do this or your career can do that. Yeah. And you got to choose one of those roles. It wasn't the reserves anymore,
Right.
And it wasn't Germany anymore. You back in the States, it's the real army. Yeah. But I've always, I'm not gonna say I've always been in hospitals because of course we was in the FSB. But when I left Fort Belvoir, I went to nursing school after Fort Belvoir. I was a Mike's. Well, I was actually a 91 Alpha when we came in. The medics were 91 Alphas out Fort Sam,
Right. Yeah.
and they ended up making. Then they had this thing called the Super B, that in between. It wasn't a paramedic, but it wasn't a medic. They made us the Super Bs, and then I ended up after Germany. I went to Fort Belvoir again, and I ended up going to nursing school out of Fort Belvoir. Ran into some good mentors, and they was like, yo, man, go, try to do nursing, do what you got to do. Because I've always thought that, okay, if I become a nurse, I can get a job anywhere as a nurse. Not so much as a medic. Medic was for, especially combat medic. If we're not in combat, what good am I? Yeah. So I'll be pushing people around the hospital in wheelchairs, more or less a CNA.
Right.
Got my nursing license and ended up in Korea. And Korea was awesome, man. It was a challenge. It was different. It was a whole different way of, field medicine.
Yeah. I bet.
When it bothered me. It was fun in Korea, but it did bother me that when we went to the field, we had fenced in field problems. I wasn't used to that. Yeah, and it was almost like structured field problems, and that wasn't real Army to me.
Yeah.
But the training we received up there, when somebody mentored me and talked to me about it, when you're in Korea, you're the closest to combat that you will ever be. If you're up on the DMZ, you can see the enemy every single day. Gotcha. You're standing across from your enemy. North Korea is right there. It was challenging when I learned about it and understood it, but I couldn't deal with. We go out in the field and then you reach a fence line and you can't go further. So that kind of always stuck with me.
Got you.
After Korea, I came back to the States and I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Oklahoma was a good assignment too. I was a nurse up on a labor and delivery ward. Never thought I would do labor and delivery, but it's crazy because my first duty station out of nursing school was labor and delivery. Wow. And then I ended up at Fort Sill doing labor and delivery. So we did some things up there, and then I left there and ended up at Fort Campbell. And from there, I was like, I got to get the hell out of this place. No doubt. I got to Fort Campbell, man, and Joe, when you came in, you in process through Sergeant Major West.
Yeah, sure enough.
And he started telling us 9x36 aerosol standards.
Yep.
And we got out there, and I kid you not, and it's probably still that way. Sergeant Major West was Sergeant Major. We had General Cody at the time.
Yep.
And that man ran 4 miles, 4x36, and talked the whole entire way.
Yep.
And if you fell out of that run on that Tuesday, the first Tuesday you get there, you fall out of that run, I'll see you again next Tuesday.
Yep.
There was no way in hell I was falling out of that run.
No way, man. No way. I
didn't want Sergeant Major to know me personally. That's how I felt. I said, nah, he don't need to know me personally. Not the post Sergeant Major. But it was good stuff, man.
After a while, Sergeant Major West made me his little, I would take my ambulance everywhere. And so I was the medic watching everybody get smoked on the runs, so.
Exactly.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was good stuff.
It was, man. And I got to say something, Joe. When I met you, you taught me a lot, Joe. And I never said this to you before. You was 10th Mountain before you got down to Campbell. Oh. So there were a lot of things that we didn't do at Campbell because we were air assault. Right. That you did infantry. Yeah. And you taught us a lot, as far as protecting ourselves.
Yeah.
We get to the field. This is the infantry way. Then we had the air assault way.
Yeah.
But there were some things you taught us, and I was like, damn, that makes sense.
Hell
so
yeah.
I mean, I love you for that. I appreciate that. And I never told you that before. But yeah, you were hardcore, man. I said, who's this dude, man? This dude is hard charger E5, man. What the hell?
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Because you saw infantry time before any of us did. And when you came to Campbell and when things hit the fan, we were all right there. And as an E5, I would look and see what you were doing. Mm-hmm. And I had my E6 on, and then you eventually got promoted. But I'm sitting there looking at you, and I'm like, yeah, this guy, he's on it. He's on it. So, and we all wrapped our arms around all of, each other and all that stuff. Hawkins, Hawkins and Zen, they're officers now. They
Oh
went
yeah, I
to the
heard
dark
that.
side. Yeah.
He did. He went
But
dark side for sure.
yeah, they
Wow.
on the dark side. But Carter, Cunningham, I forget first sergeant's name, but Cunningham was pretty much our first sergeant back then. I'll go ahead and say it.
I've been looking for him. I've been looking for him.
Cunningham. He's somewhere in Hopkinsville, Kentucky.
I know he's
that
there.
was his roots. He was not going to lead unless he's passed on. I know Cunningham is somewhere in Hopkinsville.
Yo, I
good
had
guy though, man. Great guy,
Seymour
man.
To look for him. Seymour lives right up there, so I said, look for him.
He's still out there.
Yeah, sure is.
And that was another guy too. That guy ran like he had one big ass lung. I was like, how do you run like this, man?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we
4.5 miles going 6. He'd turn around and run backwards, telling me to hurry up.
Exactly. It'd be like, y'all come on, catch up with us.
Yeah, man.
I used to want to trip him. Like, damn, show off, running circles around me.
But he motivated me, man. He would motivate me, and then he told me that I motivated him too. He was just clowning me the whole time. He was hurt as well. So that's brother.
That guy.
Respect, man.
He was a runner, man. He stayed with me for a little while when in transition when he's getting ready to PCS. He stayed at the house, man. We had some good times, man. That guy was something else.
Dude, okay. So just because of all the crew up in here, they hear me talking all the damn time.
Yeah.
Give them something funny, man. Let's tell them about the field problem with that special utensil that I taught you guys about.
Okay, guys, this is hilarious. Whoever's on here, you're gonna love this. Joe was infantry, so he had a whole bunch of, different little quirky things we didn't know because he was from the infantry that none of us served with yet till we got to Fort Campbell. So we're out at a field problem, and these damn bugs are biting. It was crazy out in the back 40. And Joe put up this damn tripod of sticks, about all the same height. Then he hung this damn rock on 550 cord. And he knew what it was and probably a couple of others, but I had no clue, being in hospitals prior to coming to Fort Campbell. So we had this specialist, female specialist, and she was so competitive because her thing was, I got to compete with the men. I have to compete with the men. So she would always try to outdo people. However, she was one of those that would throw somebody under the bus to get what she wanted.
Yeah.
She went over there and grabbed that damn rock. and I don't know how it came to be that all of us came out of our tents at the same time. I think it was after we did stand to and washed up, whatever. Went out there and we were all brushing our teeth or whatever by the rock. She grabbed the rock and she said, who the hell hung this rock out here? And we was like, you know you're not supposed to touch that rock. And she was like, what is it? And Joe says, it's a fucking piss rock.
It's a piss rock, man. Don't touch that.
We used to go out there and piss all over that damn rock. And she came over there and just grabbed it. Oh my God, it was hilarious. She hated us for that. Everybody out there, man, she tried to get the sergeant major to ream all of us.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, they made me touch this rock. No, nobody made you touch anything.
Yeah.
Specialist, you went out there and you grabbed that rock.
The sergeant major knew what it was, man. You put a rock out in one spot. That way people ain't pissing next to where you sleeping, right? She was
a specialist. She grabbed that rock like she was an E7, like she knew what she was doing.
What's this rock?
Who put this out here? Like she was gonna reprimand whoever put it out there. Yeah. It was damn hilarious. And it was like, it's a piss rock. She threw it down and then it just dangled. It didn't hit the ground.
She's so mad at me, man. I didn't tell you to pick it up. Seriously.
You guys were at war though. It was like, okay, out of the E4s in the unit, Joe Glenn was hard charging, and the other young lady, I'm not gonna say her name, but she was hard charging, and she was always trying to outdo you. And you was like, you haven't been anywhere. You don't know anything yet. You're not gonna compete with. Learn from me instead of being against. And we're all on the same team.
Yeah, I'm taking you with me. Let's go.
Yeah, but she wanted to be out front, man. So, but to her credit, there are a lot of women that didn't stand up for themselves like she did.
It's accurate.
To her credit. So she had a little respect, but I didn't like the way she went about it because she would try to throw men under the bus. It was more like a womanist type thing, but
Gotcha.
hey, she was hard charging. She tried to get hers in a
Yeah.
man's world, so it is what
And
it
she
is.
did. Because she got pinned a week before I got pinned, and so she held that up
And
above my
she
head.
loved that, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And so
however,
I'm cool with it, man. It's all right.
however, she held the coveted piss rock in her hand. So
She did. Yeah.
you
So
can have that week.
that-
You can have that week or whatever she was pinned before you. But you can say you never held that piss rock.
Yeah, that was good stuff, bro.
Yeah. That was hilarious, man. We had a great time at Fort Campbell, man.
We always,
And then-
I know me and you, man, we always clowned and shoot. We even went fishing a lot, man, like in the civilian,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
hung out. We had a lot of good times together, bro.
I got a great one. We went up to where did we go? We were in Kentucky. We went somewhere. It was a field problem. We went outside of Campbell and had that high grass, and we had to drive the LMTVs around just to wear the grass down. And we kept finding all those long ass snake skins out there where the
Yeah.
snakes had shed. And we was
Yeah.
like, hey, you know, once a snake sheds, he's grown a little bit.
Yeah.
And we had like 16, 17-inch snake skins. And I was like, yeah, that son of a bitch is big now.
Yeah.
So Stroll, our favorite, I'm gonna say her name, hell, I don't care. But
She was
she
extra.
Sergeant Major came over there, it was extremely hot. He said, unblouse your boots. You guys can unblouse your tops, take your tops off. And he even told us, we're not in the field, we're not all the way in the field yet, so put your gas mask off to the side. Travel light, but make sure you got your canteen on you.
Right.
Everybody was in compliance, and Stroll had her gas mask on. Sergeant Major came over there and he said, who's your squad leader? Sergeant Martin. Sergeant Martin, come here. I went over there, Sergeant Major, locked up, parade rest. He said, why does the soldier still have her gas mask on? I said, I don't know, Sergeant Major. He said, you know what? Because you don't know, and because she's out of uniform right now, both of you all put your mask on until I say otherwise. It was hot as shit out there. So I had my mask on. She had her mask on, and she had to stay by me. And Carter, we were out there in the field, and you know everybody has sunflower seeds out in the field.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting out there, and they called us into a huddle, a round huddle. It wasn't a formation. They just said, come on around. The colonel was going to talk, and we had the truck circled around. I don't know if you remember this, but that was the time Caldwell stepped out of the LMTV and missed the last step and fell in the weeds. But the weeds was so high, you didn't even see him.
Yeah.
So we standing there, and Carter passed me the sunflower seeds, and I had the gas mask.
Spitting them inside.
I sat there, I put some seeds in my hand. I tried to eat them because I didn't even realize I had the mask on anymore. I had to throw the damn seeds down. I was pissed, man, because of Stroll, man. He kept saying, you want some seeds? And all I could do was look at him and cuss him out under my breath. That was hilarious, man.
Yeah, man. Shoot.
We had a great time at Campbell.
Yeah, man. We did. We had a lot of good times, man.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, man. You know, so did you do anything else after Campbell? Where else did you go after that?
Well, after Campbell, I went back to Fort Sam. I worked on the burn unit. I worked on the burn unit for 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. I was from 4 years, from 2004 to 2008. I was on the burn unit, and that was something unique. And I'll tell people, other than going to the field, that burn unit, as gory as it sounds, was the best unit I served in. That was the best job I ever had because I left the desert the second time after we went from Afghanistan, then we went back and we went to Iraq. But I went to Iraq with the 801st. I left 626. Right. But we ended up meeting back up with you guys. And I ended up back with 626 with Sergeant Major Slater.
Right.
And I got to the burn unit. It was like I never left the war because I watched those guys come straight from the battlefield into the burn unit. The ones that, unfortunately got blown up or either burned. And I even got a good story about that. That's hilarious. But that burn unit was something because we would watch them come in there, and some of those burn patients stayed with us for like 6 months at a time.
Yeah.
And that was. I mean, those burns were so horrific. I was on the step down unit though. I wasn't on the burn ICU.
Gotcha.
But when I got to the burn unit, even as a nurse, it took a whole year to get used to that. And they'll tell you, you're not going to get the hang of this. So I always had to have an RN and maybe another LPN with me when I worked until we bounced things off each other and we really learned that position. But I'm talking 3-hour showers with a patient just in the shower. When you get up on the ward, we always had to spike the heat up because your skin is your temperature regulator.
Right.
These guys didn't have skin, and we had to keep it probably like 98. I'm not gonna say probably. We had to keep the temperature at least 98 degrees to 104 degrees. And then when we went in there with the showers, because we were more harmful to them than they were to us.
Right.
With Acinetobacter and all those different bacterial infections they can catch. These guys were on like hardcore antibiotics. So we would go in the shower sometime and be in there with one patient for 3 hours. And if you got an acuity of 3 patients that you got to shower, and we worked 10-hour work days, 9 of those hours were in the shower, and you got a half hour for a report and a half hour for a report at the end of the day.
Right.
So you can probably get showers done, pass your medications, and it's time to go to the next one. Showers, medication, and we would be soaked.
Right.
One good thing about that, we had an unlimited supply of Gatorade.
That's what's up. Yeah, at least they could do.
But that was like the best. I mean, and that's where I really, really learned my nursing. Because there wasn't an injury or wound that you didn't see. We've seen amputees. We saw fractures. We saw burns. I ended up going to Canada for 2 weeks for the 2 weeks, or it might have been 2 weeks or a month. But I went to the burn course, the wound course, the wound care course, WCC. Went to Canada for that and learned more and more and more about wounds and how to treat wounds. But it was an awesome experience, man. We had our own. We had two. We had a psychologist and a psychiatrist for the staff because some people just couldn't take seeing that. We had a respite room where we had. They closed one of the ORs. They knocked down walls and built up. They built this thing called a respite room that had. It was a relaxation room pretty much.
Gotcha.
And you can sign up for like 10 and 15-minute sessions. They had a masseuse on call. You would go in there. They had a built-in waterfall in the wall. It was like a tranquility room. When the stress got this high, you go in there and you decompress. It was awesome, man. It was awesome. That was something that they had on the burn unit. I loved it up there. I thought I was going to retire and ended up working there. But, God had it different that he moved me on. So I ended up back here at Belvoir after the burn unit in 2008. I came back to Fort Belvoir, and I became the SEL, the senior enlisted leader for surgery. So I had like 9 surgical clinics, and a couple of surgery ORs that I had to service, and I worked directly for my colonel. And I've been here ever since. I worked that until 2013 when I retired. The Army started to change to the point where I wasn't feeling it. It was when you go to PT and a girl could wear a ponytail out, I was like, nah. It was just some regulations they were changing that it just wasn't hood anymore,
Got you. Yeah, I feel that.
And I'm not saying I'm the most hood, but there's some regulations. I mean, I didn't even like when we went to the suede boots. I used to like the discipline of shining my boots.
Yeah.
And being that classy soldier that we were back then, and because it was discipline. You come out there, we had a regimen that you shined your boots when you got off work, or you shine them first thing in that morning before you slipped them on, and you came to work looking good. You're looking like a soldier.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're not soldiers now, but those standards that they have, Joe, is like, yeah. I'm just that old soldier, man. You know how
We
we
that
get.
old heads, yeah, man.
Yeah,
We're old heads, bro. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
that. I get it, man. Well, you know what?
And,
I want to tell you something, Timmy. I want to tell you something real quick, and I never told you this before, but thank you for your service, man.
man,
Most of the
thank you too, brother.
we were right there, so it just never dawned on me to say thank you. But man, I appreciate you. You did a lot of shit for our country, brother, and I appreciate you.
Ah, I owe you a debt of gratitude. When we was at Fort Campbell, you guys, Joe made some damn beef jerky.
Oh shit! Yeah, you got that
Hey, this
recipe,
guy
dog.
made jerky, man. I can't go in any store and find jerky that tastes that damn good.
Hell
I
yeah!
mean, we would be chasing him down. Hey, it was crack.
It was crack. Yeah, $5 a quarter pound, baby, all day long,
$5.
man.
I said, hey, Joe, you bring jerky? Hey, I'm all out, man. I would go and find somebody that bought some and said, look, let me buy a couple pieces of that jerky off.
He would too. I had
It
a whole
was
backpack.
crack, dude.
Yeah, man, it was good. Yeah, good
That
shit.
was awesome. And
I
we
forgot
would
all about
say, one time I made a mistake. I said, hey, can you make it hotter? He's like, hell yeah.
it. Sure did.
That was the worst field problem I had because you didn't want to go in that portal, John. But your ass is on, I'm not even going to say on fire. It was on hell.
Yeah, that was on the habaneros, man. Yeah,
I forgot about that, man. I got it. That had to be a part of our Fort Campbell experience, man. That was the
yeah.
best damn beef jerky ever. I don't care what
Yeah, man,
nobody's. I would put that up against any store brand.
it's fire.
Hey,
Yeah,
I might come to you one day and say, hey, Joe, make a batch of jerky because I
let's
bet
do
$1 million that this store brand is not better than yours.
it.
I'm going to try to get somebody to take that bet.
Hell
I'll
yeah,
split
man.
it with you.
That's what's up, bro.
Yeah, man. Shit.
Well,
That was
you
a
know
good
what, man?
time, man.
Let's talk about your civilian career now, because you're still continuing
Got you.
on with the good work, man. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah. So I got here in '08 to Fort Belvoir. Again, I was a senior enlisted leader. Then they built a new hospital. We had the old DeWitt Army Hospital, DACH.
Mhm.
And I think that hospital probably had 30 hospital beds between the 3 floors that had wards, between the ICU and the 2 telemetry ward and the patient ward. Now they built this hospital they called it a community hospital. However, this hospital is big as a medical center. And now in '08, I got to in 2011 is when they built it. It opened its doors. They started building it. When I got there, they were laying the foundation. They closed down a golf course. That's how big the hospital is. They closed down the 9-hole golf course, and they started building the Fort Belvoir Community Hospital. I was part of that, making decisions on that as well, going to different meetings when they did the BRAC, when everybody started coming together with Army, Navy, Air Force. And the hospital's huge now. From one parking garage to the next parking garage, there's a parking garage on each end of it. And you guys can look it up. It's a quarter mile
Wow.
from one end to the other. So you'll see, if you came by our hospital now, you'll see ladies walking the halls at lunchtime with their sneakers on. They'll be dressed up for work, and they're walking that quarter mile. You walk it 4 times, you walk the mile.
Right, right.
But yeah, I got to Fort Belvoir, and from 2008, I was at the old hospital transitioning into the new hospital. I mean, we moved that hospital over, and it's grown 3 times the size of the old hospital. I was the senior enlisted leader, and then they started doing the Manning document. Well, they started moving the old Walter Reed over to Bethesda and then building up Bethesda as well. So they closed the old Walter Reed, and now Bethesda's Naval Hospital is Walter Reed now.
Gotcha.
And then our hospital became Navy Heavy, where I'm at now, which was Fort Belvoir Army Community Hospital. So it's not just Army, but it's all Joint Command. We're all DOD. Army, Navy, Air Force is serving in there, and we service Marines as well, Space Force, Coast Guard, whatever. But I've been there since 08 at the old hospital, 2011 at the new hospital, up until now. I retired in 2013, and I was offered a position because I was up there as the senior enlisted leader for surgery. And then once they did the Manning document, it called for a E8 Navy slot.
Mm-hmm.
E8 Navy came, and they moved me downstairs to where they needed some help in the advocacy office. Because I was in surgery, I knew a hell of a lot of the docs around the hospital. So I was that go-between when, you know, they didn't have an enlisted person down in that office. So I started teaching customer service classes, auditing records. I mean, I was just doing whatever they asked me to do, but it didn't have a paragraph and line number.
Right.
So around that time, if you think back to 2013, a lot of people were being sent out on MIT teams out to Kansas. I didn't want to go on a MIT team. I was like, no, I'm not going on a MIT team.
Right.
So in 2012, I dropped my retirement papers. Then things were changing, and my family dynamic. I had divorced my wife, and my kids were. I was in Virginia. The kids were in North Carolina. There's a lot of family stuff that played a part too.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter was in high school. My son was in middle school. And I just got to the point I wanted to spend more time with the family. So I dropped those retirement papers.
Oh, yeah.
But I was working with patient advocacy in uniform. So the deputy for our services, deputy for hospital strategic planning, who was our deputy to the commander, he came and asked me one day, he said, look, he said, I know you're retiring next year. If I have something for you, would you like to stay on? And I loved doing that. I was teaching, still mentoring soldiers. You know, they were coming to me because they knew me from the old hospital. Some of the new soldiers that came in from Walter Reed or different parts of the Northern Virginia and DC area, the NCR, National Capital Region. I made a lot of good friends, a lot of relationships, and met a lot of leaders. And I always kept my nose clean, Glenn. Always kept my nose clean. And because I did that, they offered me a job there. So I'm doing that today. I'm a patient advocate now.
Nice.
I got there once I became a patient advocate. My supervisor, she gave me orders to become a core contract officer representative on our hospitality contract. So I started governing our hospitality greeters, because we have greeters throughout the hospital, had a few transporters that transport patients around. So I was in charge of that contract. That became stressful though, because if you mess with those government contracts, you can end up going to jail. You know, not doing the wrong thing. And I was like, I didn't serve 25 years to go to jail.
Right.
So
right.
That started to get stressful, because what happens is you got these vendors that they're retired sergeant majors or retired colonels or officers, not just those two ranks, that they start their own business on the outside, and they try to get chummy with you and get you to buy into picking their contract. And that's not good. Favoritism and all that stuff, nepotism, because some people start their own businesses and they're already in the government and try to bring their families and stuff like that in, their family business in, to get a contract with the government. So I just wanted hands off. I didn't want to be a part of that.
Right.
It was a shiesty organization, I could call it, because it was almost set up like an organization to set you up to fail. So I got rid of that contract. I gave it back to our supervisor at the time. And it ended up going back up to the contract support office, who does contracts. But that's where I'm at right now, doing patient advocacy, still taking care of soldiers, still taking care of retirees, still taking care of families, doing the right thing, because we all understand what right looks like. I'm still teaching customer service classes. And then some of the younger soldiers that I had when I first got there, they're E7s and E8s now, and they come and ask me for mentorship. So it feels good. And then You know,
Sure.
some of them still call me Sergeant. Hey, Sergeant Martin. I love that. You know, I turn around and be like, well, it's Mr. Martin now. And I'm like, you call me what you want to call me. You know, it's
Yeah.
what I answer to.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing now, man. Just putting out fires. You know, is patience. That the thing that I don't like is some of the services don't talk across the board. We're DOD now, Department of Defense,
Right.
and we have a small we have a small VA clinic in our hospital. We don't govern them. They're just renting that space.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times that I know I can help these guys, but I'm not to touch that.
Wow. Yeah.
It's outside of my scope. So, you know, I get involved with that. I, get the slap on the wrist or, get reprimanded, but it's not in me to tell somebody I can't help you.
Right.
It's not my job, or you got to go talk to the VA rep. I'm getting better at it,
Right.
but it still bothers me that when I see a vet struggling,
Yeah.
you just want to reach out to them and help them, because that's what we did, man. Our brotherhood, like I said earlier, we're part of one of the biggest daggone fraternities in the world. And that's how I look at it, as a fraternity. They could say we didn't pledge, but some of the stuff that we've been through, pledging doesn't put a finger on it, doesn't touch it.
I'm with you, man.
So yeah.
But man, the more you talk about it, the more I miss it, dude. I miss my uniform. I miss those days that we did all that shit, man, and had fun and laughed. And I mean, hell, I miss our fishing tournaments, man, our fishing trips that we went on.
I know, man.
Yeah, but
when you said that about uniform real quick, I got a funny joke, man. One of my buddies, we got a chat line, and he posted it on Facebook. God, it was something, but he said, hey man, I know what it was. One of our buddies, he worked with he worked in the behavioral health clinic, and this guy's like 6'8", 6'9", maybe 6'10", big guy. And he retired not too long ago. And he came on there and we were talking about vets and behavioral health. And just mental health and strengthening, and he came on, he said, hey man, I moved out of the area, I moved back, I ain't seen you guys, blah, blah, blah. He got into our chat. He said, man, let's have a party, man, but let's wear our Class A's, our old uniforms. And man, we lost it. I was like, I remember going to a promotion board, man, and I was sitting there in front of the Sergeant Major saying, I hope he can duck, because if this button pops, I'm gonna kill the Sergeant Major with my button. He's gonna die by death of button. And man, we cracked. I mean, we were just on there. We were on that chat for about an hour, man, going back and forth about soldiers that came to the board and they looked red like a tomato because they just so nervous and the uniform was tight. I'm like, go get your uniform fitted properly so you can breathe. But I remember that old green uniform. That thing was tight as heck, man. I could never get that thing right, man.
Yeah. I would have to say I probably fit mine right now.
Hey, I would have to leave my jacket open.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, same old. I get it, man. That's funny. But man, so I know that you're at the VFW, and I know that you wanted to do a little bit more advocacy for them as well. But I want to mention to you, man, Vetcodes, this is what we're about. Exactly all the things that you love doing for all these soldiers. It's what we do for the veterans here. It's about the camaraderie, man. It's about the family. It's about everything that we used to have in the military that we can't find in the civilian side, man. And so I'm glad to have you of that, man. It's a great.
And I'm going to promote it too, because I'm on Vetcodes now as well. I'm definitely going to promote it because, I go all the way back to when my uncle served in Vietnam, and they came back, and I just don't think they got the respect they deserve, man.
No.
So I remember how they were treated when they came back from Vietnam, man. I wasn't right there in the trenches, but I'm listening to what he was telling me. I watched him struggle when I was coming up, going from job to job and couldn't keep a job. Some of those guys were heroin addicts when they got back, and they just let them stay out there on those drugs. Now we got things in place for, guys that are substance abuse or they couldn't deal with life. either sniffing something or drinking something. We got those programs now. And my uncle's gone now, but I've always thought about that, Joe. And veterans do need to work with veterans. The thing that got me here with this VFW, man, when the guy told me, he said, when you join and you're a lifetime member, and the age we're at now, we're our parents' ages now. You know, a lot of us are, you know, dying off, and I'm not one of those dudes that think about dying every day, but it's a reality. You know, I always tell my son, we leave the house and we take for granted we're coming home tonight. And there's so many things out in this world that are going on that can stop us from coming home. So the guy that I signed up with, real nice guy, he sat me down and he said, you know, at the VFW, man, when you're a lifetime member, make sure you give a copy of your DD-214 to your predecessor or your family. He said, whoever you got your will written out to, make sure they have a copy of DD-214, because they bury you for free, and they do all the funeral services for you. All your family has to do is pick out a casket. They do that work and they take that stress off. I said that right there is a lot. Yeah. Because I'm thinking, you know, my kids are my benefactors. To take my kids and them not have to worry about my funeral services, that's a lot, man. That's a lot, because they're grieving, and you got somebody to do it for you, and they're sincerely doing it for you. They're not just putting your dad in a pine box and shipping them off. And they will move you to the state where you want to have the funeral.
That's good information.
So
man. That's what's up.
I was like, that's good stuff with the VM. Hey, I think because I was an E7, my the amount I had to pay was like $350 to be a lifetime member, or you can pay it in increments of $45 a month. I just paid it. I joined right away. They give you a key fob to the building, so if you just want to come in here and watch the game on Sunday and they're not open, you let yourself in, watch TV. You have access to everything here.
Nice, man. Nice.
It's awesome, man.
Hey, and you know, another thing I wanted to mention to you about Vetcodes is we have we have seed banks for gardens. You know, any garden stuff that you like to grow. We were talking about being healthier and eating better.
Yeah.
That is something that we try to promote in this group too. And so, if you have any, you know, information that you'd like to share with the group, by all means, man, just put it up on the Facebook group. Share it with everybody. Love to see that, man. And hey, let me throw this out here real quick. Luke says, "Thank you for your service, Timmy."
Thank you, Luke. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Now everybody wants my jerky, Tam. Damn it.
Hey, it's off the chain, man.
I ain't made it in a while now, but now I got to do it. But so, you know, man, we had a great conversation, man. I kind of want to end it there.
Okay.
You know, me and you, we can pick up on some old times here in a little bit, but
definitely, man, definitely.
I want to tell everybody, you know, a couple of things, man, and then we'll get to moving. Okay, so give me 1 sec, Timmy. All right, guys. So coming up October 3rd, we got this waffle, right? It's the grow tent thing. It's strolling at the bottom. If you guys have any questions, man, be sure to check that out. $5 a ticket for a hell of a setup, man. 2 really badass lights and a hell of a tent. You know, and there's no limit on how many tickets you buy. All right. And so tomorrow night, Dave will be going, doing the Wheel of Names if everything goes well. And other than that, you know, Timmy, you got any things you want to say right before we get out, man?
Yeah. The other thing that I've done since I retired, Joe, I picked up some golf clubs, but I'm not tooting my own horn because I can't play worth a darn. I'm not Tiger Woo. I got my little Tiger Woo going. But I joined this organization called Links to Freedom. It's spelled LINKS, the number 2, and freedom. If you guys look that up, and what it is it's free golf lessons for vets. I know they have one here. They had one at Andrews Air Force Base, and I think the only other one was out at Fort Sam Houston or somewhere in San Antonio. Might not have been Fort Sam Houston, but it was in San Antonio. But if we can get chapters built, and what it is, Joe, is they're working with all vets. It's injured vets. And when I got there, I fell in love with it. And I donate $100 a month to this organization because those that have back injuries, those that have prosthetics,
Right.
people that have burns. We have a physical therapist. We have 2 other doctors, and golf. A lot of people don't think it takes a lot to play golf, but you have to be an athlete to play golf.
Sure.
That swinging and stuff, and torquing your body the way Tiger and all those other guys did is strenuous on your body. But they teach you like an alternate way to swing if you have an injury. And that's why I say, like, they got three doctors, got a physical therapist and 2 other doctors to help you tweak your game. But guys are like, they say, they said 22 vets commit suicide,
Yeah.
And this thing is so many people that have given their testimony where before they got to Links to Freedom, got with a group of good guys, played golf. It's so relaxing because they teach you the game of golf to where I'm not challenging you. I don't have to be better than you. You're out there playing this course. You got this big field with a hole in the ground, and you got to try to make that little ball in that hole, man. It's so damn challenging, but it's so peaceful at the same time because they take you to these different golf courses, man. These majestic views. I mean, awesome $1 million homes sitting on a golf course, and you're out there hitting the ball and meeting these guys that live in these homes. It's a lot of networking that goes on through this organization. So I don't know how to move and make another chapter, but if anybody out there has that business savvy to reach out to these guys that are here at Fort Belvoir and could start up a Links to Freedom, I'll tell you, man, the vets are so much better for it, man. It's so awesome, man.
I like that, man. I like that
and
idea,
that's the
brother.
guys. Those are the guys I hang out with and keep myself out of trouble. We talk about golf course. You talk about whatever you want. You talk about your health. Talk about business. I mean, they make $1 million deals on the golf course. I'm not a millionaire, but I listen to those guys. So, but it is a vet organization, and they gave me free clubs. They gave me free professional ping clubs. The owner, the guy that owns Ping Golf Clubs, which is a formidable golf club, they gave me free clubs. The people that participate in this program end up getting free clubs. It's so awesome, man. I got like a $2,000 set of golf clubs, and I'm a golf novice, but I got professional clubs, so I plan to put them to use.
I might link up with you, man, and try to get some phone numbers or something. Maybe we can make calls and see what's going on because they have the same story that Vetcodes has, just in a different genre. Legitimate, I mean,
and it's all about vets, man. It is all about vets.
Exactly, man. Well, thanks for sharing that, man. And like I said, I'm gonna get with you on that, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, guys. Hey, Timmy, hold on now. Don't go anywhere. But hey, guys, thanks for showing up. Thanks for listening to the crazy stories and laughing about me and all that good stuff. So until next time, y'all. Happy growing. Peace.